I just got absolutely called out inside of my own Instagram DMs by someone who saw one of my ads, clicked on it, and then felt like they had to share with me all of the things I'm doing completely wrong. Now, listen, I'm not a very dramatic person, but I thought it might be helpful for you to hear this conversation and then to hear kind of like my take on this whole situation. Because if I'm being completely honest, we had a lot of miscommunications, but I think the core of what he was trying to communicate is that there really are two different schools of thought as to the best and most efficient way to run a low ticket ad funnel. You can run ads to all kinds of different types of funnels, webinar funnels, VSL funnels, book a call funnels, DM funnels. In my business, one of the main things I do for ads is a low ticket ad funnel where I'm running traffic directly to a low ticket offer. And then inside of that checkout experience, there's order bumps. And then after they pay, there's upsells, and then they ascend into my high ticket offers on the back end. That's how I've grown my business. And I've spent over $1 million inside of my own ad campaigns to scale my digital product business. Now, the way that this dude called me out, number one, very interesting. At first, I was just like, okay, I'm pretty open to hearing what he has to say because it sounds like he has this like different take on things. Like, let's hear it out. So here's what he said. He said the economics of my offer was completely off. Here's what I was running. I was running a $49 ad or a $49 lead offer, adds to that. And then the order bump that I have right now inside of that specific ad funnel, I have a $39 order bump and a $79 order bump. So two different options. And then what he was saying is that he's assuming that no one's buying that $79 offer and that it's cannibalizing the price altogether, right? My $49 offer is basically cannibalizing it. It's saying that $49 offer is not as valuable or as important as you might think it is because look at this $79 offer. And so he's basically just saying the economics of my entire funnel is completely off. I misunderstood exactly what he was saying. I thought he was just attacking me, coming at me. So I was like, hey, listen, like I've been running this for a long time. You know, the $79 order bump is getting purchased and it has like conversion rates that are above 20%, which is what you want. So anyway, it was a bit of a miscommunication, but there's two things that I thought might be actually helpful for you to hear this conversation. And it's because there's two different schools of thoughts and there is maybe no perfect answer. You have to understand what works inside of your own business with your own industry, your own market, your own offers, and play around with it and test things. Because I'm not going to pretend like I know everything when it comes to low ticket offers. I know a ton, and it's all based on research and data from my own budget that I've spent inside of my ad campaigns. But that's not to say that I can't learn or do things a little bit differently and test things. So I'm probably going to go back in and create a new test funnel and try some of what he's recommending. But at the same time, I wanted to introduce this to you because as you're running your own ad campaigns, it's nice to know what's out there and to understand maybe there are different things that I can try inside of my ad funnels instead of just like trying the one thing that I hear everyone's doing. So the two different schools of thought is an ascending price model. The low ticket offer is the least expensive. The order bumps are more expensive than that. The upsells are even more expensive than that. Or the least friction pricing model, which is that if you go up in price aggressively, then you're actually cannibalizing that first offer and also taking away from just the effort and ease of that buyer eventually joining one of your high ticket offers. So those are the two things that you could potentially price, and there's pros and cons of both. So here's how I want to kind of frame the rest of this video, okay? Inside of this ascending prices model, the whole concept is that you want to increase your average order value. So at the end of the day, if you're spending like $60 or $50 to acquire one low ticket buyer, then your goal is to have the average order value be as high as possible, right? So if they would normally spend $49, if that's all that they purchased, they would just be spending $49 as an average order value. But if they added one of my order bumps or added an upsell, then that AOV is going to be jumping every single time they add something. The goal in this school of thought is to increase the average order value as high as possible with the focus of the higher the AOV, the more I'm going to be able to reinvest into my ad campaigns and scale. Okay. So that's really the main pro of this entire thing. Now, the main con, if you do a bad job positioning that order bump or the upsell, it might actually cannibalize the front end offer in that people will start asking themselves, why am I not getting everything in this front end offer? Why do I have to add other things to my order to get, all of this transformation that's being promised to me? What I've been doing inside of my funnels is very intentionally and carefully making sure that my order bumps complement my lead offer and make it so that investment in the lead offer is even, an even better investment because they add other things to their order. They're able to get even more results from what they're learning in that lead offer. What you do not want to do is make the order bumps sound so similar that they start asking themselves, why isn't that included in that lead offer? Because then that's going to, like that dude was saying, completely cannibalize that first lead offer. Now, the second school of thought is the path of least friction. So if you're too aggressive in this in this school of thought, if you're too aggressive with your order bumps or your upsells, you're going to have, number one, an unhappy checkout experience. The people that go through that are going to feel a little icky, like you're just trying to nickel and dime them. But even more importantly, you are going to leave this bad taste in their mouth so that they may be less likely to purchase any kind of high ticket offer on the back end. If you have an ad funnel, then most likely you have some kind of high ticket offer, whether it's coaching or a self-study course or a group coaching program or a hybrid of some kind, literally anything. If you have an ad funnel, most likely you have something high ticket, because that's where all the profit is made. You want to make sure that your ad experience, everything that they're doing when they first check out, when they first purchase that low ticket offer, isn't setting them up to just not buy something later, because that's where the profit is. Okay. So in this school of thought, the main thing is you don't want to erode that trust. They just found you. And so you want to make sure that you don't just like completely turn them off because they feel like you're just trying to suck the most amount of money out of them without giving them all of this value. So those are the two trains of thought. And here's where I land. And this is what's important for you to understand. With the ascending model, the ascending pricing model, you can do it in such a way that you don't impact your conversion rates on the back end. So inside of my business, because I have the data to prove that my conversion rates in my high ticket offer is about 2.5%. Okay. So everyone that purchases my low ticket offer, they're going through an evergreen email sequence. They're going through a follow-up sequence. They're being nurtured over the course of a couple weeks after they purchase my low ticket offer. 2.5% of all of those low ticket buyers ascend into my high ticket offer. That's pretty good. An industry standard is usually between 1 and 3%. So I can tell you, just based on my own data, that the way I do my low ticket offers is not really impacting the conversion rate on the back end. That being said, you have to do it in a very specific way. The main thing that you want to internalize is the very first offer should solve the smallest pain, because that's going to reach the widest market. The biggest part of your market is going to have this identical pain. You want that lead offer to solve for that. But it's the smallest pain. They're not actually going to have a full transformation if all they do is purchase that first offer. So then you want your order bumps to solve the next biggest pain point that is essentially saying, hey, hypothetically, if that first offer solved this small pain point, what's next? What's the next thing that they need to focus on solving? And that's what the order bumps are going to solve. So in my ad funnel that this dude was trying to critique, my very first offer is essentially saying, I'm going to help you build an email sequence. That's what this specific low ticket offer was. I'm going to help you build an email sequence. My 2 order bumps complement it instead of cannibalize it, because the next pain point that they might be feeling is, hey, well, what do I do outside of that? Yes, the email sequence is what nurtures, but what else do I do? How do I generate leads? How do I close leads? And how do I do that in an automated way? So my $39 offer is basically giving them a high-level overview of all of the automated systems that they can set up, how they work, why they work, what they look like. And it's answering that next question of, even if I were to have an amazing email sequence, what then? And then my $79 offer is essentially laying out a trapdoor funnel, which is a bingeable email sequence. The first offer is essentially saying, I'm going to help you write all the words inside of your emails. I'm going to help you position it. I'm going to help you with your messaging. I'm going to help you with, different sales psychology, all of that, right? So that's what the lead offer untemplated solves. But then the next question is, how can you make that even better, even more efficient? And the answer is you can make it bingeable. So while the lead offer is the words inside of your email campaign, the $79 order bump for me is, how do you set up the bones to make those emails that you've written now, how do you make them bingeable so that someone can consume up to 9 emails on day 1, and you're essentially capitalizing on the hottest leads in your email list? So neither of those are cannibalizing the first offer, and they're also more valuable, especially that second one, the bingeable email sequence is very, very valuable. So it makes sense that it would be priced accordingly. Now, my upsells are even more valuable or solve a different area of online business for them, but with the same thing in mind. Now that you have the email sequence locked down, because that's what that offer does, this is something else to think about, and it all works together to the point where it's not cannibalizing it, it's just complementing it. It's saying, if you spend $49 for that lead offer, these are other things that you need to be aware of, and it's just going to give them even more value and make them feel like you care about them even more. Now, the thing is, I'm okay with someone not adding anything else to their order. I am okay if they just have a $49 purchase and that's it. They just wanted the email sequence. I'm totally cool with that. What it does by having all of these ascending order bumps and upsells is it gives someone who has bigger problems, it gives them the opportunity to solve them. So if someone comes in with a very small desire to get like a little incremental change or transformation in their business by creating an email sequence, let them purchase that lead offer, and that's all they need. But if they do have the desire to go deeper and solve bigger problems in their online business, then I'm just making that possible for someone, especially if they've been following me for a while, or if they've been stalking me, or if I've been, smashing their feed with a bunch of ads over the last couple weeks. So they really trust me. Maybe they're watching these videos on YouTube. They really trust me. They really like me. Maybe they're even on my email sequence, going through my email sequence, seeing how, this email sequence could really be instrumental in their course business. Well, then when they see my ad and they decide to potentially purchase that $49 offer, I'm giving them the chance to spend up to like $400 or $500. And so you can imagine from a business standpoint, that's really, really smart, because it's going to increase the average order value to a place where I can run extremely profitable ads. And that's really the end goal. So that's what I recommend. That's what I do. But again, having the least amount of friction inside of your checkout experience might actually be really good for you. So my recommendation is test it. See what works for you, test both, and then go from there, and just keep a really careful eye on the back end metrics. What is your conversion rate into your high ticket offers? What is your average order value? Do you feel like you're hitting benchmark conversions for your order bumps and your upsells? If not, maybe it's worth changing. If you like this video, make sure that you drop a like, make sure that you're subscribed so you catch other videos that I'm releasing. And if you want to learn more about the automated course model that I'm using to grow my digital product business, I just dropped a video. You can click it right here and go check it out, because it's going to explain everything about how my entire business works, give you a behind the scenes look. So go check that out, and I'll see you for the next one.